Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Dane, your host. I hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. Today's episode is an interesting one, I think, dealing with music snobs, or snobs in general when it comes to taste, preference in any form of art. But since this is a music channel, what I'm going to say applies to music, but you could definitely apply it in most or many cases to the other arts. So you've been there, right? People who think that because they listen to what they listen to or watch what they watch, as opposed to your taste or preferences, they think that somehow that puts them on a pedestal, that they're more special, or they look down your nose at your sort of thing. So I'm going to talk about what are the elements of what it means to be a snob and how to deal with them. All right, so let's start with the definition that I found on the internet. Essentially, Wikipedia. It wasn't Wikipedia, but something akin to that. Just a quick Google search, or rather, not so quick Google search. So here's the definition of the snob that I found. Just checking on the cat for a minute. Bowie. He's good. So a snob is defined as a person who has a belief, or a group who has the belief that they have a superior and more refined taste, in this case music, than others, and have a high level of knowledge in music in general. So essentially what that means is there's nothing wrong with having a really good high level of knowledge regarding a certain area, in this case music, but it's their attitude towards that knowledge. They think that they're the cat's meow, or all that in a bag of chips, or choose your metaphor or simile, right? They think they're better than others because of said knowledge. And I'm going to use a former high school colleague of mine, because he was definitely a music snob. All right, so essentially what we're dealing with, this is my 2 cents, not looking at the internet, from my experience, the snob, or the music snob, or the artistic snob, is the person whose attitude towards the music combined with the fans of said music. Okay, so in other words, their attitude towards a person regarding their sense of taste, or their opinions, or their preferences, and they look down their noses at that said person because they disagree with their said taste and preferences and that sort of thing. So let me preface by saying there's nothing. Let me make a quick note here, actually, because I remember 2 things that I wanted to add if they're not already here. And the other one was, oh dear, because this is important. Oh yeah, it's that comment. Okay. All right, sorry about that. So there's nothing wrong with not liking a particular band or artist or a type of music, a genre, subgenre, etc. It's okay to strongly dislike same genre, group, artist, etc. It's even okay to hate something. Okay? I've seen a couple of videos, Classic Album Review, who I love, a guy in Britain. He did his video, and then he did artists I absolutely effing love, kind of thing, as a retort to that, as a compliment to that. And he did the bands I effing hate because someone else did it. So I may do that down the road, but I got to tweak my list. I have the list made, and of course it's going to anger people. There's nothing wrong. You hate this band, okay? You have don't like, strongly dislike, and then hate. There's nothing wrong with hating a particular artist. Now, if you go about your attitude the wrong way with respect to hate, because you look down your nose at people who like the stuff that you hate, now we're getting to snob waters, right? So it's okay to not like something or dislike. It's okay to strongly dislike something. It's okay to hate something. Okay, we're talking about music here, not people. Okay, so if you're just chiming in, that's not what I'm saying. It's even okay to use words like, this is garbage, this is horrible, this is, a coaster. I say that, I don't know if anyone says that, I'll say this CD is a coaster, it's that bad, right? I've even said that stuff is crap. I saw someone post online. They got upset. They said this person is music snob because they said rap can't be spelled without the letter C. Well, I've been saying something similar for the longest time, and it's really a joke because there is a tiny bit of rap that I like, but I don't like enough. I often say as a joke that rap is spelled with a silent C, and I get people sometimes laugh. I get sometimes, and if people don't like my joke, it's too bad. It's a joke, and in some cases there isn't. Well, in many cases, when I say that, there's an underlining of seriousness to that, because in some cases the lyrics to a lot of rap music is just garbage. Like, I'm not gonna. The lyrics, the initials are WAP, and I'll leave it at that. That's vulgar. It's disgusting. At least in rock and country music, when there's any talk about sexual intercourse, it's through innuendo, not such a vulgar display of foaming at the mouth with cuss words or curse words, right? So, and again, that's just an opinion. And I don't look down my noses at people who like rap. I just don't like the music. That's their, if they think that's great, that's well, good for them. It's just, I don't like it. Now, when we talk about the word superior, there's two types or two definitions of the word superior. One's good, one is bad. Okay? So I hold the opinion that the Rush album, Moving Pictures, their masterpiece, is leaps and bounds better than Hold Your Fire, which I like maybe 2 songs. I think that's a terrible album for the most part. Same thing when it comes to the Cult's Love album is far superior than anything else that they've done. So if you think this album is superior to this album, this book is superior to that book, this concerto is superior to that concerto, nothing wrong with that. That's not wrong. That's not immoral. That's not being a snob. However, believing or thinking or in your mind knowing, which isn't knowing, that you're superior or you're somehow better because you think your taste, your preferences is objectively right and others are quote unquote wrong, then that person is a snob, okay? You believe, if you apply to that negative type of superior, then you believe or feel, aka know in your mind only, you are superior to others, okay? In other words, you think your taste and preference makes you better than others, which is just ridiculous, okay? So if we go back to see this all the time on the prog corner, the guy, he seems a nice guy, but he says, and then I see another YouTuber say the same thing, oh, you like that album? I think this album's better. You're wrong. There's no wrong or right. I've said this before on my channel. Music is 100% subjective, right? So, saying that you think something's wrong or right, you have this main character syndrome. That's actually a thing. You have main character syndrome because you can't process the fact, or it makes you cringe, or you just can't deal with the fact that people feel, think differently when it comes to taste in music. So for example, I don't like 99% of rap music. However, I'm not going to tell people who like rap music that they're wrong or that they're inferior music fans. That's ridiculous. It's downright wrong to do that. So that's borderline, infringing on someone's culture. Okay, this is vulgar. I don't like it. That doesn't mean you don't have to like it. Okay, I'm not going to mock and make fun of the fact that you like something so vulgar. I just don't like it. I might tease you about it in a playful manner, but I'm never going to belittle that person. Haha, you like rap, that kind of thing, and point at them. And this is wrong. So this notion of, you're a snob because you think your taste is right and everyone else who disagrees with, or people who disagree with you, are wrong. So for example, another example of someone being a snob is the classist, the person who thinks that Bach is superior to, say, Bessie Smith. Okay, I like both actually. They're apples and oranges. But some will argue that many will argue that the person who only listens to, the person who can't understand the joy, if you don't like Bessie Smith, okay, great. But the underlying message may be there that you're racist and the only good music is for white is music made by white people, which is ridiculous. Okay? You wouldn't have rock music if it weren't for African American folks or people of color. Same thing with jazz. Okay? Music is for all people, regardless of where they live in the world, regardless of religion, creed, skin color, you name it, culture. All right. So getting back on topic a little bit, although that is connected, there is a connection between being a snob and a classist and a racist and stereotyping and that kind of thing. So sure signs that you're dealing with a snob is when someone says, how can you like that? Again, it's that main character syndrome, that narcissistic viewpoint that they put themselves in the center of the world and everything else rotates around them. Another example similar to how can you like is the opposite. How can you not like that? Okay? Or how can you not get that? Right? Now, here's one that I don't know if anyone had this problem, but I remember going to visit someone that part of my life, and I'm talking about Magnum Opus Records, and I said that Moving Pictures by Rush is to Rush what Exile on Main Street is to Rolling Stones, and the two people in the room said, "Oh, you don't get to say that." I can say whatever the flip I want. It's my opinion. How dare you tell me I can't say whatever I want? They even hushed me once, and these two people once even hushed me in a restaurant because I was talking about something that made me angry in the news. Oh, you can't say that in this town. And they were talking about you should be quiet with respect to your politics. I can talk. I wasn't saying anything untoward or anything politically incorrect. I was just saying, hey, this is how I feel about this bill that got passed, which was violating people's civil rights. And they told me, you can't say that around here. Someone's going to get upset. Oh, well, they're going to get upset. Anyway, so this notion that you don't have the right to say that, or you don't get to say that. And this is coming from the same people who told me years and years ago, they invited me to go see a jazz band that I didn't like. And they said, well, you know, Dane, it's more about the company than it is the performance. And I wanted to say, really? So you'd come see Rush with me because they both hate Rush. But I didn't say anything. I wish I would have said, because then they would have shut up and they would have left me alone about that. So anyway, here's another thing people say, and this is usually dealing with YouTube commenters. You can say that so easily because you hide behind a keyboard. Well, newsflash, anyone who posts that is also hiding behind a keyboard. At least you can see my face. So that's ironic, that's hypocritical for people to say, oh, that's easy for you to say because you're hiding behind a keyboard. I'm not hiding. You can see my face, as I said, and you're hiding behind a keyboard as well. So that's another one that may suggest that the person you're dealing with is a snob. All right. People who are snobs can be vicious, downright cruel, downright vicious, mock, make fun of you, hateful. They judge you. They could sneer. They're always questioning your taste, that kind of thing. They're always questioning your musical choices, your musical tastes, often to belittle you. It's one thing to have a certain disdain for a certain song, band, artist, genre, but the snob has a disdain for the music they dislike and the people who like it. It's that combination. Again, that superior attitude towards people who like a certain music that they don't like. They think they're above everyone else. Choose your synonyms that you want. Now, I did say, let me go back to my card, people who say, how can you like, how can you not like, or how can you not get this type of music? That's a sure sign, I think, that someone's a snob. However, I think it's okay to say, I don't get something. Let's say someone says, here, listen to this. I don't like Sonic Youth all that much. Here, listen to the Sonic Youth album. You listen to it. You put it down. You wait a day or two. You listen to it again. You listen to it 3 or 4 times and you still don't get it. So you tell them, sorry, I don't get it. Nothing wrong with that. That is not a sign that you're a snob. But if you say, or they say to you, why don't you get it? Then you're dealing with a music snob. Essentially, when you say, I don't get it, or I don't get something, you're saying you don't like it, or you're saying it's not your cup of tea. But when a person says, why don't you get what I like, or why don't you get what I asked you to listen to? That's their way of saying, drink my tea, damn you. It is what it is. Doesn't mean it has to be, you have to like it. Another sign that you're dealing with someone who's a snob is they try to force their taste down your throat by constantly buying you or giving you on MP3 format, whatever, the music that they like. They force it down your throat, or they buy books or biographies or documentaries about the bands that they like, to keep forcing it on you. And, it's similar to, I don't get why, you don't get this band, so I'm going to do my best to see if I can beat you over the head with it. They never shut up about it. This is a sign that they're also not only a snob, but a control freak. You go by their house, they play the same stuff. There's not much of a variety. You can bank on, you go visit, this is what you're going to hear. They won't play stuff that you like, or rarely will they play the stuff that you like when you visit. And yes, it is their house, but as a host, you're supposed to play to the likes that your guests have. You throw a party, you're going to want to please everyone, right? You can't please everyone, but you make an effort to do so, even if you're one person. Now, let's see. Yes. All right. So, I remember one instance where I was watching a YouTube channel, and the host is talking about Winger in Europe, I think in the same breath or the same episode, and he has a case of main character syndrome because he's going out of his way to explain in his mind that these are good bands, and he's essentially saying these bands are worthwhile. Okay, great, it's your opinion. But the way that he says it's also about you can identify a snob by not what they say sometimes, but how they say it. And this gentleman was how he said that. He was essentially smug and sneering and essentially saying, I don't get people who don't like Winger in Europe. But there are going to be people who don't like Winger in Europe. I don't like them. Now let me talk about my high school colleague, if you will. I remember I don't speak to him anymore, it's been a long time, but I remember he's the type of snob that he's always got to one-up you with, he knows more about music than you do. I remember hearing a song on the radio, and I tell him, hey, I heard this song, and I'm singing the song. I thought it was Tull, maybe. I thought it was Deep Purple. I thought it was this. I thought it was that. Lo and behold, it's Deep Purple's Highway Star. I heard the song. I heard the song for the first time in high school, which is late for me. And as a defense mechanism, when I knew something that he didn't, he would laugh. When I remember opening my dad's Peter Frampton album vinyl and showing him Steve Marriott's solo album. He didn't know who Steve Marriott was, and I told him that my cousin had it and how much I liked it. He played it for me. I went to go visit my cousin, and he laughed at me. He thought it was funny that I liked Steve Marriott. Oh well. And I remember going to church. He came with us to church one day, and I was talking about this band that I liked that he wasn't familiar with, and he goes, "Well, I bet you don't know the song Rare. You don't know the band Rare Earth." And I started singing "Get Ready," and he got pissed off. So that's just the part and parcel notion of what a music snob is. There's more I have to say. Let me have a sip of my coffee. So essentially, a lot of them are, if not all of them, are control freaks. All right, let's see. Now, there's this old George Carlin joke about shite versus stuff. And you could probably relate to this. You're a kid, you're growing up, and dad comes in the room, or mom, usually dad, and dad says, pick up this shite. And then he turns to mom, your mom, or his wife, and goes, honey, where's my stuff, right? That's that. It's funny, but because it's true, that's that main character syndrome. Everyone else's stuff is garbage, but your stuff is, the cat's meow, or the dragon's hoard or treasure. So this is how snobs think that their taste is superior, that it's stuff, it's good, and everyone else is shit. Excuse my French. And I've known couples who are not allowed to play certain bands or artists in their home, not even in the car. No, you can't play that. And I'm thinking, oh my, or to the extreme, own a copy of said music or artist. It's ridiculous. Now, sometimes the music snob will often project. They will make you look like the one who's a snob. They'll say things like, who the hell are you? You give your opinion, and they say, who the hell are you? They're the one who's the snob because they're the one getting bent out of shape over one person's opinion as if it was gospel. You see the irony there? So often the music snob is hypocritical. As I said, they will mock, they will tease, they will belittle, they will make fun. Let's see. There's this band I used to get teased about all the time. I won't mention the band. It's Rush, I'll go ahead and say it. And I remember casually mentioning the same friend in high school about this is a band that's not around anymore, and they're a very minor band, and I won't mention them. But I remember hearing the song on the radio, and I'll go ahead and say it's Focus. I like one song by them, and it wasn't, that song, right? Hocus Pocus by Focus. I like that song. I remember hearing a different song, and I told my friend that, I heard this other song by them on the radio, and I didn't like it, and he went off on me. And I went off on him. I said, you, fill in the blank, you've been making fun of me for years because I like Rush. I simply matter-of-factly say, I don't like the song, and you get all pissed off. This is the kind of double standard. So being a music snob also means having double standards. All right. Another thing that the music snob does, not all music snobs have all these qualities. They have some of them. I guess in some cases they have all of them, but that would be a rare music snob indeed. I think some music snobs will overestimate a band or artist's impact or influence or contribution to the genre. I'm not sure about this. It's something I've been thinking about. So, for example, if you're a sports fan, go online and look at the stats of an average athlete, basketball, football, whatever. I've known people who talk about a person who has average stats as if they were Michael Jordan or Kareem, and I just shake my head on the inside. I go, how can you? Okay, you like them, but you're in a state of denial. So, for example, if you're looking at record sales, we're talking about impact and influence in contribution to the genre, but the said artist has not even, sold an album that's halfway to gold, right? Perhaps you're overestimating. Now, you may think they're great, you may think they're good, more power to you. I'm all on board with that. That's your taste, that's your preference. But I think sometimes a snob will overestimate a band's or artist's influence, etc., to make them more what they are. So, for example, the Real Music Observer is the channel, and when the lead singer of Firehouse passed away, he regarded to the singer as a legendary vocalist. So I thought to myself, he's on the same plane as Robert Plant. So, again, okay, you think they're great? Great. In your own mind, that's wonderful. I totally respect that. But at the same time, I don't understand this overestimation. If again, I'm just sticking to impact influence based on sales. Now, if you really believe in your heart of hearts that they're good, well then I don't think that's an overestimation because it's a personal connection you have. But when you talk about someone as legendary or iconic, there has to be a consensus. So that's what I mean. All right. Now, here's another one that really cheeses me off. The following phrase: such and such a band is a acquired taste. That's just bullshit. I'll say that right now. I don't like Scotch. And I know a few people, or have known a few people, who are, so you can be a snob when it comes to wine and that sort of thing, and beverages, that kind of thing. I've known a few people who have argued that if you don't like Scotch, but you drink rye, when I was drinking, rye was my favorite. If you drink bourbon, rye, other forms of whiskey, but you don't like Scotch, well then you're not a real drinker. You're not a real connoisseur, that kind of thing. I guess there are cigar smoking snobs. If you're not smoking a Cuban, then you're not a real cigar aficionado, whatever. So again, it's about taste and it's about preference. So if you think about food and beverage, if you drink something or taste something and you want to gag or spit it out or go, oh, it's an impulse. It's a non-voluntary reaction. Okay? Same thing with music. If what's coming out, pointing at my speakers, doesn't appeal to you, then why are you getting upset? So I've said this before. Why do I have to like the same stuff you like? And then just some people don't understand the concept of preference. Again, it's that main character syndrome concept. I deal with that almost on a daily basis, it seems. And I don't mean my YouTube channel. So acquired taste. So the first time in high school I tried a Guinness, I thought I was going to throw up. But I conditioned myself to like Guinness. September 14th will be 2 years without any alcohol. It's just a personal thing. I'm not saying drink alcohol. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you drink alcohol. It's just for me personally, I don't want to do it anymore. But this notion of, I'm sure that if I were to go to the store today and buy a Guinness and drink it, I would feel that I wouldn't like it because it's been almost 2 years since I've had one, or any alcohol for that matter. So when someone says that something is an acquired taste, that's their way of saying, hey, I'm better than you because I can appreciate this and you can't. Okay, that's how I read that. That's what I think that means in many cases. Here's another example of someone who may be a music snob. You're not listening. Okay, let's say an album comes out and, well, let me give you an example. This YouTube channel I used to watch, they were reviewing Rush's Grace Under Pressure. And one of the guys in the panel, because there's like 4, 5, 6 of them, he says this all the time. Well, you're not listening to the album for what it is. I am listening to the album for what it is. I don't like it. Okay, Rush went into a different, well, I like Grace Under Pressure now, but I didn't at first. But if let's pretend that he was talking about Hold Your Fire, and let's pretend I don't know what his take on Hold Your Fire is. But if he said, well, you're not listening to the album for what it is, I am listening to the album for what it is. I understand it's not Rush in their hard rock prog days. I don't like it. There's some stuff that Rush does, and they're not being proggy or hard rock that I like Ghost of a Chance, Neurotica, Entre Nous. Okay, these aren't proggy at all. These aren't hard rock at all, but I like them. They're different from the main 70s stuff, right? So when someone says you're not listening to the music for what it is, I think that's a snob move. And the same person later on when they were talking about a Pink Floyd album, I think it was the More soundtrack, he was talking about how he doesn't like it. And I held back. I should have typed it in. I should have typed in, hey, name, you're not listening to the album for what it is. Think about that for a minute. Can you imagine Black Sabbath doing a country album? Okay? I'm not going to like that. Okay? I don't like country music, much anyway. Nor should Black Sabbath do a country album because they're a heavy metal band. They're a blues, hard rock / heavy metal band. Okay, with some doom thrown in, starting with their third album and fourth album, right? So imagine them putting out, in the heyday of their career with Ozzy, they put out a Cole Porter type album, maybe a little bluegrass thrown in. Okay, I'm not gonna like that. I can tell you right off the bat. I'll give it a fair shake or two or three or four, but saying you're not listening to the music for what it is, I am listening for the music for what it is. It's country. I don't like it. Okay. Anyway, I'll skip that one. Here's one that really cheeses me off in addition to the acquired taste comment. The word misunderstood. I hear this all the time. YouTubers say, oh, this band or this album is really misunderstood. And my comment to that every time is, I understand it quite well. I just don't like it. No one responds to that. I guess they don't know how to comment. But I did comment once. Here's what I put when someone said that. I hate, this is me commenting to someone who used the misunderstood comment. I hate when someone says a band or an artist or an album or genre is, quote, misunderstood. That's what snobs say to prove to themselves that they think they have the superior taste. I understand quite well. I just don't like the music. It's called preference. So that's my response to these idiots who say, oh, this band is misunderstood. You're putting words into someone's mouth. You're assuming that because you like it, then everyone else who doesn't like it misunderstands it. See, that's that main character syndrome once again. No, I understand it just fine. I don't like it. All right. Here's another bullshit comment. You're not a true fan. I've spoken about this many times. Screw you. Who are you to tell me I'm not a true fan? Okay, so-and-so on the internet years ago, YouTuber, very famous. If you don't like Sabotage, you're not a true metal fan. Screw you, dude. Just because I don't like Sabotage doesn't mean I'm not a true metal fan, okay? It's about preference, dude. Get off your high horse. Get off your flippin' high horse and stop. He puts words in people's mouth all the time. Same thing when he said about Winger in Europe. Just because you love them doesn't mean I have to. All right. Now this next one doesn't necessarily mean someone's a snob, but it may. And this is a comment I don't care for. They should have been huge. And it depends on how they say it. And their attitude, kind of like, why don't you get this? Kind of thing, right? The problem with saying they should have been huge is, how are you going to support that? I get what you're trying to say. But if you have the attitude that they should have been huge because you have main character syndrome and you have the superior attitude that because you like them because they're an acquired taste, or you just like them and other people don't get it, then that makes you a snob. Now, if you're just saying, Bill, I'm disappointed that this band didn't go anywhere, well, that's different. I get that. I think a better thing to say would be, I wish they would have been huge. That's how I feel about Billy Sheehan's first band, Talus, and some other bands. Music is 100% subjective. But when you have that subjective attitude and you try to make it objective, okay, that's what I think you're saying when you say they should have been huge, or you're not a true fan. All right. Now, here's one that really gets my goat as well. It is, you talk about, and I get this in text messages all the time, or verbally from people that I know and don't know, or casually speaking to. They give the dismissing, it's not only dismissing attitude, well, I never heard of them. So you know everything. See, this is the know-it-all asshole, right? The know-it-all jerk. Okay? This is the person who thinks, it's kind of like my friend in high school. He would laugh if there was a band he didn't hear of or a song, because it's a defense mechanism. Excuse me. So that's important. And usually when someone says, well, I've never heard of them, they have that kind of thing going on that they do. They may not flourish like that and go, I never heard of them. Usually that's a lot of women that I've known who do that. But usually the guys will be, they'll kind of, I never heard of them kind of thing. They kind of shrug their shoulders and, certain snobs have these mannerisms with their shoulders and their this look right. I've never heard of them, right? So you know everything, jerk. That's part and parcel with respect to the snob, and it's a combo of the two. It's both by themselves are aggravating, but the person who says I've never heard of them, and then they have the dismissal shake or that dismissal shake. That's what really gets me off my. That's really gets me pissed off. They have that quasi-fake shock tone or that dismissive tone with the head shake or not, or flourish, or whatever you want to call it. Again, this is the I know it all personality type. It's a defense mechanism. They can't admit they don't know something. A person of strength would be courageous to say that they don't know something or haven't heard of it, and would rather be, oh, tell me more kind of thing. All right. Now, the elitist or the snob will often say, I've kind of hit into this, but I'm adding a couple more words. I've said that, this is kind of like the acquired taste. They'll say most people just don't get it. But because you get it, because it's an acquired taste, you have this elitist mentality that you're somehow superior to others because you get it. They're somehow special because they get it, right? And part of being a snob is that logical fallacy of name calling. They report to name calling, right? You see this in politics all the time. The mudslinging, it's been going on since Jefferson versus Hamilton. So I did a video a while back on bands I think who should retire, and I got some really ugly comments in the comment section. I deleted them as fast as I could because they were cursing and that sort of thing. And one person posted, "You're a hater." I'm not. I never said I hated these bands, and even if I did, there's nothing wrong with that. But the name calling, you're a hater because I want a such and such band to retire because live they sound terrible because the guy in the band can't sing anymore. So I'm a hater. Okay. Again, it's okay to hate a band or artist, but it's also okay to call a spade a spade. That's an old expression. A shovel, if you hate something. There's nothing wrong with hating something. All right. So if someone said, look, I got my Uriah Heep stuff up here, right? I got my, the Professor on the drum kit right here, and Farewell to Kings album, and the insert of the 3 band members up there. If you hate Rush, okay, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. You hate Uriah Heep, that doesn't bother me. But I've had people laugh at me because I hate both, because I love these bands so much. Anyway, so name calling is definitely indication you're dealing with a snob. As I said, snobs like to belittle, they like to mock, they like to make fun. Some of them, they're always trying to one-up you, have that pissing contest with you to show you who's master, who's smarter, that kind of thing. It's a defense mechanism. They often invest in sensory overload. Again, snobs often invest in sensory overload. The haul, I hate that word. Just say purchase. Look what I've got, everybody. They like to show off. They've got 60,000 CDs behind them, that kind of thing. Not all people who have that are snobs, but that may be an indication. The show off. Trying to impress instead of actually spending some quality time with the music. They're the greatest pretenders. They're the greatest frauds. And also, I talked about acquired taste. People who will condition themselves to like something because they want to have that superior place in society and look down their noses at everyone else, be on the high chair, if you will. So they're trying to impress, they're trying to show off. They have that elitist attitude that they're special and they get it, so they're in their class of their own, right? That's the snob. Now, overall, a snob is a type of artistic fascist. Only their way is correct. Now, how do we deal with the music snob or snobs in general? Well, I really just have one answer, and that is you don't talk about music around them, okay? You say as little as possible. If you know you're going to be belittled, made fun of, mocked, you change the subject. How them Knicks, huh? Change it to sports, change it to politics. That could be a bad move too, right? Change it to, how's work? How's the cat? How's your... Oh, you're a sculptor. How's that going? Could you show me, you want to go have dinner? Change the subject. Because people who are snobs are an example of people who have a level of stupidity. And what I mean by that is intelligent people. There are very intelligent people with PhDs or just intelligent people with high IQs who can be stupid. Just because you're smart in one area doesn't mean you're a master in all of them. So that's what I mean by that. For example, I find physics fascinating, but when it comes to the math concepts behind physics, I'm stupid, I'm ignorant. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you get bent out of shape because you think you know everything and you don't, that's what we're talking about. So my advice is to not talk about the specific subject area or matter where you're going to have to deal with these types of attitudes, the acquired taste, the looking down your nose, the how can you not like that? All this, this band is misunderstood, and the forcing down your throat of ideas, and you get a birthday gift. Oh boy, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Thanks, man. I don't like them very much, so him that much. So that kind of thing. It's very frustrating dealing with people who think they're superior because of the things that they like. I'm sure there are other aspects of what it means to be a snob. I'm a big fan of humility. Like I tell my students, there's two types of pride. Pride is like cholesterol. There's a good and there's a bad. If you're proud of your accomplishments, that's great. But when you're proud of who you are and your accomplishments gives you a sense of superiority, then the pride becomes tainted and poisoned and bad. And I'm not here to preach, but this is just something I wanted to get off my chest because if you know this channel since I started it a year and 3 months ago or thereabouts, one of the things I've stressed over and over, perhaps ad nauseum, is one, music is 100% subjective, and I don't have to like what you like, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you don't have to like what I like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to get angry and cheesed off because someone else has a different preference. Recently, not that long ago, one of the first videos I posted was, or maybe in between where I am today and when I first posted, I posted a video ranking all of David Bowie's albums. And someone got upset because I ranked Toy, the Toy album, which is a 3 CD set, above the album, oh gosh, it's down here. Hold on a second, folks. Not Diamond Dogs. Hold on, folks, let's see. I'm just drawing a blank, apologies. Young Americans, there it is. Someone got mad at me because I said Toy was ranked just one spot above that album. I even said in the video that at one point, about 5-6 years ago, that this album was actually was my favorite. It's not, but I you change your mind about where you rank things over time, and so this album fell from first spot to like 20th in my list, and I fell in love with Toy right away, and I put it above that album. So anyway, folks, post in the comments, tell me what you think about how you would deal with a music snob, or post a story, an anecdote of what you've done to keep music snobs at bay. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. God bless. Bye.